In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we're back. And if you don't mind, can we? We have we're going to just dip into Vice President Vance for just a second here.
Protect the American people. I hate to disappoint you, but I'm not going to show up here and in front of God and everybody else tell you exactly what I said in that classified room, partially because I don't want to go to prison, and partially because I think it's important for the President of the United States to be able to talk to his advisors without those advisors running their mouth to the American media.
Fair point.
Thank you all.
He's got it. He's got it. General Blaine Holt, now retired from the Air Force. He knows strategy. He knows the world. He knows tactics. And he knows business as well. General Holt, welcome back. That made a lot of sense. They wanted Vice President Vance to spill the beans, what's going on behind the scenes, but they can't do that, obviously, right?
No, we call that a security violation, and they're not about to be handed classified information in a nice little cozy presser where they promise not to tell anybody.
So look, what's your state? What's your sense? How are things going? What are you worried about? What should we be worried about? Give us your overall, lay of the land view of the Iran war.
Yeah, overall, I think everything's going very well. There are some priorities that I know the president is working on. You can tell because those beautiful Marines out of Japan, the 31st MEU, they are now with the Tripoli underway to get to the Straits of Hormuz to force them open. That is the number one priority overseas, in my view, because it's not just about the oil. It's about the precursors to fertilizer. It is planting season in the third world. They have to have that to avoid a famine. And it is about neon and helium because those are the precursors to electronics, and those supply chains would come to a grinding halt too. China's on the sidelines because they're effectively getting oil out of there. We shouldn't be upset about that. So that's that. Now, the big concern here at home is terror cells. And the guys from the IRGC are not going to wear placards around their necks that say, "Hi, I'm from the IRGC and I'm here to create a terror event." They're going to go hire out those who are inspired to do their acts. They're going to work in the background with the cartels, and we're already starting to see some of that. It's not even really getting reported that well. We saw the synagogue in Michigan, but hardly anybody knows that a refinery was hit in LaPorte, Texas this morning. So about 5-6 events across the nation that I'm tracking on, I'm expecting more. And so we have to keep our head on a swivel.
What do you know? Wait, a refinery was hit in Texas?
Yep, LaPorte, Texas. I'm not sure if it was a drone strike. I just know that they had an event happen inside the refinery and they had an explosion. I'm not sure of the damage.
Okay, we got to check that out. All right, so look, the MEU, the Marine Expeditionary Unit, 5,000 Marines, the Tripoli, all the ships that go with that. How are they going to keep the Straits of Hormuz open? First of all, when do they get there?
They'll probably steam about 10 days is what I'm expecting for them to be able to get on station. They're already working their plans and tactics for how to force the straits open. The new element that is in the battle space that we didn't plan for before, even though they were grilling Hegseth about it today, is we're in a drone, robotics, AI-infused battle space. And America is now getting her first taste of this, like Russia and Ukraine have been going at it. And now we've got to adapt ourselves to taking these robots down. Now, we have tools. We've got lasers. We've got electronic warfare. And the best of the best on the 31st MEU, they're coming. They've got all their enablers in place there. They don't have a well deck on the Tripoli, so that tells me a lot. The well deck is all of the facilities underneath for a pure aviation battle. And there is aviation on board, but I think it's going to be a command and control ship that really gets after holding the straits and keeping them open and protecting the escorts that are going to take ships through.
Okay. What about these drones? Where is there any end in sight with these drones? They got a lot of them and they're still firing them. I hear, okay, they're degraded, but they're still flinging them our way.
Well, they're pretty infinite in terms of supply, and you can conceal them very well because for like a Shahed 136, that big triangle drone, all you need is a little Toyota pickup truck, and you can just drive out in the open and launch it. Now, then we'll come after your pickup truck. But the bigger thing is we're going to have to use microwaves, electronic warfare, space assets, the best of our technologies without throwing $4 million missiles at $250,000 drones.
Okay. So when do you anticipate this thing being over, and what are the danger points, flashpoints between now and then?
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
I'm going to guess we're going to call over probably by early fall. I know that the president is talking about 5 to 6 weeks. That's probably 5 to 6 weeks to get the Free Iranian people well underway in taking down this regime. But we're going to have a lot of work here at home with mopping up these cells. There's going to be a lot of rush to try to balkanize Iran. We're going to have to help prevent that, and we're going to have to do that without 130,000 forces on the ground. And so it will take some time. But in terms of getting through the critical phases, I do think 5 to 6 weeks is probably the right number. And right now, we are already seeing Iranian people contacting our intelligence services and pointing out where the regime is hiding. They're actually doing targeting for us on the ground.
Wait, just so I understand, I think you said we'll be done by the fall, but then you're saying is it 5 to 6 weeks or 5?
I would say your primary objectives are accomplished in 5 to 6 weeks. I would say we probably won't call this thing stabilized completely until the end of the summer. Is my best guess. Wow.
Okay. That's worrisome. I would like to have this thing done much sooner. I have dinner plans.
We would all like to have that done. I promise your United States military is doing everything they can to get that crap behind them and get their butts home.
What about the KC-135 that went down? What happened there?
That was the last aircraft I flew on active duty. You have it's a 65-year-old airplane. You've got great crews. They were flying in what we call a tanker cell, a two-ship of tankers getting ready to take fighter units through them to refuel for the targeting of Iran missions. But it does look like we've had a mid-air collision here in that cell. Flying over Iraq is a very dangerous proposition with sandstorms. You've flown there. You know what that visibility is like on a hot day. And I'm not saying that we're going to find out processes weren't followed or whatever, but what we are going to find out is that when you're extremely fatigued and you're called on to do this duty, flying a tanker in a two-ship is no easy task, and we pray for the 6 members who are gone and their families. We're all waiting to find out who these folks are. And again, this is part of my tribe that I flew airlift and tanker stuff with, and it's really devastating to watch how these folks go. And I just wish that the senators would take a note here that those kids are flying 65-year-old aircraft in combat. So think about that if you're an elected official, because that's on you.
Yeah, and also for those who don't serve, or even those who do, it's interesting. This is a great big tanker, right? It's not a fighter jet. It's not. And anybody really in the military, bad things can happen, even in training. Can I ask you this? I want to revisit, though, the 3 F-15s that got shot down on takeoff out of Kuwait. I saw something on X, and it made me kind of like, yeah, wait, what the hell did happen with that? Is that really a friendly fire? I mean, that's pretty bizarre. You have any concerns about that? 3 F-15s get shot down by one Kuwaiti jet? I don't know. What's going on there?
You don't want to think the worst of a partner or an ally, but warfare comes down to individuals and people with their own motives and motivations. I would love it if we'd have transparency in the investigation, but if it's an intentional hit on our airmen, then we need to address that, and we need to have that out there, because we need to explain to the American people how very dangerous and deadly this is. I had an incident in my own base in Central Asia where a so-called ally from the Middle East acted so horribly. I had Navy SEALs that I had to keep from killing them. And so we do owe the families that are supporting their crews in harm's way a full explanation about what happened there.
Okay, so yeah, sometimes you got a good guy there. You're told he's an ally. We're officially allies. But it's happened before. They just opened fire on us, and that may have happened here. All right, General Holt, we appreciate it. How'd you get so smart? Seriously, what was your major in college?
Well, it was management information systems, but I have to tell you, my choice of undergrad at the University of Georgia, I owe it all to them.
What do you mean?
Georgia's a great school to go if you would love to learn business and all about strategy. Well, go on down to Athens, Georgia. You'll have a great social life, and you'll learn a few things along the way.
Huh. I thought it was all about the dogs, right? The football. You guys are crazy about them dogs.
We lead with that.
It's a great institution if it's putting out people like you and the B-52s. Don't forget them. Thank you. Blaine Holt.
And REM.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, wow. We love it. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thanks, brother.
General Blaine Holt, everybody. Really impressive guy. Okay. I have to take a very quick break. I have to wash my hands, and I shall return.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?